Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hello.
2023. It is Beyond the Steps Day, my Facebook friends, my YouTube friends. Thank you. Thank you. All of us who are listening to us on the podcast. Welcome, 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 welcome. Today, we are talking about how we promote body neutrality and inclusivity in the professional dance space with Megan Bowen. We are going to get started. We're already here with our friends on Instagram, and we're going to get started in just a second here, talking to Megan with some great questions. This is an amazing, amazing time to talk about this topic. We're coming back into our studios after breaks. I'm just going to tell a quick story. I just had a conversation Wednesday with a student, a 7-year-old student, who said that she did not eat much over the break because she wanted to stay on her diet.
Wow.
And her birthday
No.
was coming up and she wanted to look good for her birthday. And I was just floored with this conversation, and knowing that we were having this conversation coming up, I just felt like this is a timely topic, and I'm just so happy to have a professional here in Megan, who is going to lead us through talking about some of the experiences that she has had in the industry, and how we can possibly promote just body neutrality in the dance industry at all levels, so we don't have to have conversations like that with our students in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And please like and share this episode on any platform that you are on. If you're listening on the podcast, please tell somebody this is an episode that you need to listen to. This is an episode that you need to listen to. So without further ado, let's introduce Megan.
Yeah, everybody. Megan Bowen is with us today. She's a professional dancer based in New York City. Alongside her professional performing career, she's also founded Dance from Home, which has been relaunched in 2023. We're going to talk about that a little later in the episode, but it's an online company that helps Broadway lovers reconnect with the joy of live performance through musical theater themed fitness, dance, and industry workshops. Megan believes the dance space is for everybody, and we're going to talk to her about that today. Megan, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Hi everyone. Good to see you.
I know you're like, where do I look? Where do I look? So we want to talk to you about a lot of things today, but
Yeah.
I want you to start by talking briefly about your journey to becoming a professional dancer. What was that like for you? Because everybody's story is a little different.
Sure. I started dancing when I was about 3 years old. I was a studio dancer, a competition dancer. I dabbled in a little musical theater growing up and did dance team in high school. I always knew college was my trajectory. My parents really wanted me to go, so I auditioned for maybe 7 different college dance programs. I was rejected by every single one of them. But I did have really good grades. So I ended up getting into UC Irvine, which is the school I went to. And I decided I would get into the dance program no matter what. And
Yes.
I re-auditioned my freshman year while I was there. I got in and did the whole program. I thought I was going to be a concert dancer, kind of that sort of company route. And near my junior year of college, I was reintroduced to musical theater, fell in love again, started training with the drama department, graduated college, and then moved to New York City.
Nice. So you already, you were persistent. You had that.
Oh yeah.
That gene, right? Like you weren't going to let it die. You really knew what you wanted.
Mm-hmm. My parents drilled that.
Yeah. Was there ever a point where you were like, maybe I need to go a different way, or were you pretty set that this is what I need to do with my life?
No, I am very fortunate in that I have never felt like I had to do anything else. If anything, I felt that expand beyond what I'm doing. It was never that I should change any direction. It was how can I add more into what I want to do and create.
Yeah, thank you for sharing just a little bit of that with us. Everybody tuning in, I am Bree with Apollo with Melissa McDaniel. This is Beyond the Steps. We're chatting today with Megan Bowen, professional dancer and founder of Dance from Home workshops. We're going to talk today about how to promote body neutrality and inclusivity in the professional dance space. Megan has a lot to say about that. So Melissa, let's get started with the first segment because I know we've got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, I want to dive into, as we were doing this script and we were communicating with Megan, we were talking about, and Megan called to our attention, the difference between body positivity, which is a term that we generally use, and people have been
Hear it a
learning,
lot.
body
Yeah.
neutrality. Yeah, body neutrality. And we always say Bree and I are here to learn just like everybody else. So when Megan brought it up, we were like, oh wow, there's a difference. So can we talk about what is the difference in body positivity and body neutrality, and why is it important to convey that message that that's different?
Sure. I think body positivity is a whole movement led by marginalized bodies. And I am not a body rights activist by trade or by study. So that is not where I identify my studies. I fall more into the body neutrality, and my view of my body, it ebbs and it flows, and I think that's a very natural occurrence to have, natural feelings. Like one day you're gonna, say maybe you're not, and I love the idea of body neutrality because the way you look at yourself and feel about yourself is not tied. I should reframe that. The way you feel about yourself as a human is not tied to your looks. So whether it's positive one day or negative the other day, you know that you are still a great person and your value isn't through the way that you look. So I try to remain very neutral. I honor when I'm feeling great. I honor when I'm not. And I just know deep down that Megan Bowen, the person, is awesome throughout all of that. So that's what I really try and cultivate in dance and in anything that I do.
So overall, you're taking the additional stress away of like having to be positive all the time or having to be feeling like you're in a good space all the time. You're taking that pressure away with body neutrality.
Yes, correct.
And you're accepting what is.
Yes.
Okay.
That's very interesting. I never thought about it that way. Right. Makes
Yeah.
total sense. So I want to start out. I know there are a lot of people out there who are probably working to be professional dancers, thinking about being professional dancers. I want you to share a few of your challenges that you faced in establishing your career as a professional dancer regarding body image, because we know there's a lot of challenges around a lot of different things, but specifically around body image.
I think the biggest challenge throughout my entire career has always just been told to keep losing weight. I mean, that is since I was 10 years old, that's what I've been told. And what I've come to realize, I'm now 28, is it doesn't matter. I don't know. For me, I wasn't any better when I was smaller. I wasn't better when I was bigger. So I put my body through all of this change to try and achieve some unrealistic standard for myself. And through doing that, that was the challenge. And what I wish I would have done was just listen to myself more than I was listening to other people. And I wish I would have done that sooner in my career, because I probably wouldn't have tortured my body as much if I had done that. So biggest obstacle was listening to other people when really I needed to listen to myself and how I felt about me.
So you're a very successful professional dancer in your own right. You've worked hard, you've established a name and a career. So, and you know that now, right? Hindsight's 2020. But what do you say to dancers who are just getting on that path and they're looking to set out and establish themselves and create a name for themselves, that feel like if I don't listen to them, if I don't conform, I'm never going to book, I'm never going to get hired, I'm never going to get that job, I'm never going to get that opportunity, where they might be desperately needing that, where you are at a place where you can, you can be more selective with the jobs that you take, and you have offers coming left and right. Like, what do you say to that struggling dancer who is just starting out?
I say that, why for someone that wants you to change something about yourself? That
Love that.
to start, like, that's a big red flag. If you're trying to impress someone who doesn't love you or wants you for who you are, you're seeking the wrong people. You're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. So look for other jobs. Yeah, it might not be what you wanted or how you thought it would look like, but the sooner you start finding the people that think like you, want you, embrace you, instead of asking you to change everything about yourself, doors are going to open. And it always for me goes back to just being very secure in yourself, building a relationship with yourself, not based on what others think of you or how you think you're being perceived by the world. And opportunities will open. You have to show up as yourself every single day.
Yeah, and the people that are hiring and casting, they see that and feel that energy, right? When somebody's being authentic, that reads really, really well in an audition, or sometimes not so well if somebody's trying to hide something, that
Yeah,
comes across just as much as the technique, right?
absolutely. And I feel in dance, we are so scared all the time. These aren't going to happen and you got to please everyone or you'll get blacklisted or this or that, or but that's not true. I don't know what to say. I feel like as a young dancer, I thought I had to people please all the time. For what? Just to be exhausted and work with people I don't really care for. So
Yep.
yeah, it's very challenging, but as soon as you free yourself away from that, you find the people that you
Yeah.
want to work with and that want to work with you.
Any
Really.
techniques to share, not to put you on the spot, but any techniques to share as to how you get in that headspace, where, that self-affirming? Do you journal? Do you meditate? What are the
Oh my
things that
gosh.
you do?
I have a full routine.
Can you share a little bit of it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think a big journey for myself started when I went on social media, which might not be a journey for other people. But as soon as I started creating my own content, especially on TikTok in early 2021, I just found that this creative voice came from within myself, and that was being successful and responded very well from other people on the internet. So I no longer was trying to seek validation from others. Like it just all this creative energy was coming from within, and I thought that was really special, that was in me, and I didn't need anyone else to tell me that was there, and I found that in myself. So I always encourage dancers and anyone, just create, whether it's video content like what I do or anything else, just create. And a part of my own practice, I wake up every morning. I journal for 15 minutes every single morning. I have a list on one side. I'll show you. It's right here. This is my gratitude. It's my journal. It says World Domination Action Planner.
Nice.
But
I love it.
one side of my journal, I will write a gratitude list every single morning. And the other side, I will just brain dump and let anything that's coming out of my brain, good, bad, ugly, just put it on paper and get it out. And that practice has really helped me connect to myself and stay very grounded. I practice a lot of gratitude every morning and night. I think it's the one thing that we're able to give and receive, and it's very important to me. So yeah, that's kind of my
Thank you for sharing a little bit
routine.
of that. I know it's very personal, so I appreciate you sharing that so much. For those of you on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I'm Bree with Beyond the Steps. This is Melissa McDaniel, and of course, we're chatting with Megan Bowen today about body neutrality and positivity in the dance space. Not positivity, inclusivity, I should say. We already learned the difference today about body neutrality versus body positivity. And so if you missed that, go back and listen to that section because it was really interesting perspective from Megan. Megan, inclusivity in the dance space has really become a hot button topic in the dance world. We hear it a lot. We just talked about it. These conversations are happening, which is a good sign, right? In recent years, what is it about the dance world in your mind that breeds a culture where this is such a big issue? Like, why are we needing to keep having this conversation, and why dancers?
I mean, dance in westernized culture, it was founded in ballet being brought to America. Like Balanchine set the standard of what we see as dance in the United States, and the bodies that he hired and created work on. It's like any foundation of any civilization, any government, anything. Like this is what it is for dance. That was what it was founded on in the United States. Yes, it was drawn from other cultures, but what it was when it was started here was that. So the root of everything is thin and small and white, and I don't know, how do you change that when that is the root of what dance is in the
Right.
US? So I think that is why we keep having these conversations. And you have to remember, this was like 1930s. This is not
Yeah.
a long time ago. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, it's not going to just change
Right.
overnight. And
Well, and
it's very new.
yeah, it's funny you say that because we on the Impala side of things, we talk all the time about footwear didn't evolve all that much in 50 years. So for us to come in and go, okay, now we want you to put on a sock that's going to support your foot, that's a big that takes a lot for people to register that. So
Yeah.
that's challenging as well, and that's with everything in the industry. So I appreciate what you're saying because it really does go with the way everything goes with dance, right? So it takes a
Yes.
minute.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Are you encouraged by the work being done right now in this area with body neutrality and inclusivity? Do you feel like you're seeing the progress, especially in the professional space since you've started?
I think I'm very fortunate that I receive a lot of messages and a lot of feedback from my followers and my community, and I know I'm positively impacting their lives. Um, I can't say that I think my realm of where I dance in the dance industry is making big strides in any way. It's one thing to say on a casting call that you're looking to be inclusive, whether it's body size, race, gender, and then it's another to hire that. So I think we're on the stage of everyone saying they want something, but it's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And all I can do is just keep showing up as myself. You know, I try my best to do that and be an example. Um, but it's tough. Yeah, I can't, I don't know. It's a hard one. I think it's okay
There's a
not
lot.
to
Yeah.
know. Mhm.
I hear you. It's basically a giant question mark. It's hard to say how much of it is actually resonating. Like you hear the conversation, but how much is actually being put into action is really
Yeah.
the question. And that's why we talked prior to going live that that's really why these conversations have to continue, no matter how tired we are of having them. It is important because eventually, someday, some way, something is going to sink in, and that's
Right.
what leads to the change. And we have to keep at it. So, something to consider, and sharing this conversation and ones like it with your organizations and your leaders, and people in positions to make decisions and make choices differently. That's what we need to be doing. So, we encourage you always to do that. But yeah, thank you, Megan.
Yeah,
Yeah. Of course.
absolutely. We talked a little bit about your level of success. Megan is out here just killing it, at every level, especially as a social media image
Personality.
and personality. That's what I was going to say, influencer, social media personality, and with her company. Do you think that the challenges and difficulties around uh, body neutrality and inclusivity change once you quote unquote made it? Like once you have gotten to a point where you're either financially secure or you are just well known in the industry or people are actually seeking you out, does it become easier to deal with those issues? Do you think it's tougher as you're trying to nose to the grind trying to make it happen?
That's a great question, Megan. So, do
Yeah.
you struggle with
That's
that less now that you're established?
oh no. I think it's actually a yes and no. Um, I I think the more influence someone has, the more uh, power they have to make change. So with that, it's a yes. I feel really secure that I'm able to have influence in whatever that may be. But also, as you grow on social media or anywhere with your platforms or whoever knows you, the more open you are to feedback, is what I call it. And because dance isn't as progressive and people who view dance and consume dance are so ingrained into what it used to be and what it should look like and what you look like, I am constantly under the scope. And it really took a toll on me in 2022. I really cut down on the content that I was putting out. Um, and it is also hard to be reduced to just your body, right? Like that's a lot of what I'm known for. And I don't really ask for that, but that's the comments that I get. Like you represent this and you are the curvy dancer, or when people call me plus size, and I'm like, you guys, I'm not even that. I can't even take that. I can't represent that. But how do you control how other people perceive you? I don't know. So that's been the hardest part of it. And what I can do right now is just keep on staying in my lane and really tune out the noise. I've had to train myself on not taking what other people say to heart as much. So that's been the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Which goes hand in hand with your career. So it's like,
what do you do? Right.
It's a big practice, just you journal. So that's what I do.
A lot.
And you meditate.
Right.
And you put your blinders on and you listen.
Keep working.
Yeah, you listen to the people who you know love you, and everything else is noise. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Everything else is noise. Everything else is chatter. I love that. For those of you who are joining us, we are talking about body neutrality and inclusivity in the dance industry and how we can promote that more, how we can affirm everyone, make sure that everyone is in a space where they can be creative and be creative in a way and show up as their authentic selves. We're talking to Megan Bowen about that today. If you are listening, if you are within the range of the sound of our voices, please share, like this episode. It is so very important. So I want to say, I want to talk about what we can do because we're about action on this show. So what are some things that you think educators, the leaders in the competitive space, because you said you were a studio dancer in the competitive space, and I think all of us were in that space at some point. What should we be doing to do more about promoting body neutrality and inclusivity?
Now for these kids so they don't get out there and have issues?
I really think dance teachers should stick to their practice. And what I mean by that is that you're not a nutritionist. You are not a dietitian. You are not a certified personal trainer. Maybe you are, like I am. Like maybe you are certified in some areas, but stay in your scope of knowledge, because anything you say to kids are like any single diet you push on them, you don't even know what you're saying half the time, or at least that's what I grew up with in a studio, And what I would suggest is bring other people to your studio, bring other professionals in strength training, maybe, or like cross training or nutritional advice. Like if you want to even touch that, go for it, but bring someone else who is knowledgeable and credible in that. But that also begs the question of, should you even be saying that to kids who are under 18? Like that's really not at all. So I would suggest focus on the craft and the art of dance and just let that be what it is. There are ways to correct or help your dancers move in a way that you want that has nothing to do with anyone's body image or saying anything about their bodies. It really shouldn't even be on your mind. So that's what I would say to instructors.
I think that points back to, I wish I could remember. I'm sure Jan Dunn touched on her series that we had in the fall. But finding a team of people who are certified in certain areas, finding nutritionists, finding mental health experts, who you create this network of people that are available to your dancers so that you don't have to serve in the lanes that you don't have any idea what you're doing. You build a network of people, the village of people who actually do know what they're doing, and lean on them and depend on them for their knowledge. So that's come back up again. Build your network, build your team, find those people, those local resources that do have the knowledge and the expertise and the know-how, and make sure that you make those available to your dancers.
Absolutely.
And kids are very smart. They pick up on everything you say. So if you're an instructor that is having a negative body image or negative self-talk, and you're allowing your kids to experience that with you, that's going to impact them. So
Mm-hmm.
I would also say to the leaders of any dance space, you have to work on your own confidence. You have to work on your own positive body image and self work and worth, because
Mm-hmm.
that is going to translate to your students.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
100%.
that's a great lead into the next question. I think we're talking about confidence. How do you enter into the room knowing there's all these negative, I don't know, negative talk, social media on social media, which is interesting. You said social media is kind of where you found yourself, and a lot of people tend to lose themselves in that social media space. Um, but how do you, as a young dancer, and you haven't fully developed, and you're still trying to navigate the challenges? How, what confidence? What advice do you have for them to be able to be emboldened with confidence as they walk into a room and be themselves?
I, from a younger age, always repeated the quote to myself: comparison is a thief of joy. As the minute you
Mm,
start comparing yourself to anyone else, it's done. So you have to knock that. And I think knowing that there's only one Megan Bowen. That's what I say to myself every single day when I wake up. And I don't
mhm,
care. I don't think it's egotistical. I think it's very, you have to know there is only one you. So your superpower is going to be different from mine and the person
mhm.
next to you. We all have something so different and unique about us that it is doing yourself a disservice to compare yourself to another student in your class, another person on your team, another cohort in college or beyond, or someone at an audition. There, in my mind, I've trained myself so well to just know that I cannot be compared to anyone, nor can they be compared to me. We all have
Mm,
something so different to offer. And as soon as you start believing that, and sometimes you just have to repeat that mantra to yourself every single day, the easier it gets. And then soon enough, you believe it. And then you're able to just show up and show out and do your thing and pack up and go. You know?
mhm.
It sounds like, from everything you've been saying, parents can help and they can foster that strength and that resilience in their child. And dance studio owners, there's a bunch of things they can do, or educators, there's a bunch of things they can do to help children feel confidence, and like Melissa said, embolden that confidence, right? And things that leadership can do at the professional level to eliminate some of these toxic issues that we see in dance. But really, the only person that can 100% control the narrative is yourself. And
Yeah.
that's the person that you have to strengthen. That's the mind you have to strengthen. That's the person who has to do the work, because I can't control the dance educator. I can't control the person running the audition, and I can't control my mom and dad, but I can control me,
Right.
right?
Control you,
Yeah.
react, you can control, and and it's not easy. And
No.
we can't just
Mhm.
say this and say you can control everything, because everyone's certain, situations, home lives, upbringings, where they live, what they're exposed to, it's all so different. But knowing that it is different, and learning how you can control within your means and what you have, is a great place to start. So yeah, you
Yeah.
have to.
And it's really tough for us as adults to grasp the things that we're talking about. Like, I at 41 still
Uh,
I'm still meditating and journaling and finding acceptance and all the things. But when you ask a child to do it and navigate these issues, and they don't have, their brains are not fully developed or mature enough to master all of this,
Mhm.
we have to touch on, it would be irresponsible to have this conversation and not touch on what are some things that it could be helpful if parents and educators do for these students. And I'm going to start by just saying, limit the social media use. I saw a conversation today about an online conversation about, should I allow my dancer to have Snapchat?
Mhm.
And like, the comments were intensely like 100% No, never, 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 like just a bajillion comments. But there's still how many kids that have Snapchat. So if that's the reaction, right, of like, absolutely not, never in this world, like, no way, no way, no way. Why are there so many kids that still have Snapchat? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have to believe that social media plays a huge part in the way that these kids are developing opinions about themselves. And
Yeah.
we talk all the time. Social media is a tool that can be used for good, or it can be used for evil, and so and it's
Right.
a very precarious line there. So what's your thing? What can parents and educators do to keep kids protected in this way until they're mature enough to handle the self preservation and the self work we're asking them to do?
Yeah, I have to start by saying I'm not a parent, so
Yeah.
I can only give from my perspective on someone who is on social media, and this is a question I constantly ask myself all the time because I know a lot of younger kids follow me on social media, and a lot of their parents also follow me on
Yeah.
social media. So one thing I would say is know who your kids or who you are following and limit that. And even if you're not a kid, even if you're someone my age, if someone makes you feel bad about yourself, unfollow them. Unfollow them and only follow your phone. Joy, it makes you happy. You are not comparing. I'll be honest, I unfollowed 1,000 people on my Instagram. 1,000 people. And now I open up my app and it is like the happiest thing that I can expose myself to because it's all people I engage with. There's a study, and I wish I could quote who it is, that we as humans can only actively befriend and like know up to 120 people and have authentic relationships with them.
Wow.
Really narrow down to that group want surrounding you, that should be what your social media feed is that you are consuming. Now, to parents, it's going to be tough. Your kids are growing up in a time where they could actually be hindered if they're not on social media, like their development, their growing up with their classmates and just understanding and evolving with the time. I think they have to, at some degree, understand what it is. And to that, I would say only let your kids create. If you're worried about your kids being on social media, only let them create. And if you don't want
Mm.
them on public, only let them create to your family. And maybe that's
Yeah.
the only people you allow to follow them.
It's a great point. It's a great
Let
point.
them create videos, let them create content. They're going to want to be curious about it, but don't let them consume. As soon as you let social media turn you into a consumer instead of a creator, that's where all of the
Hmm.
negativity starts to come in. And that's what
That
I've
is
really
a
had to challenge
great
myself.
that is a great person. I've never heard somebody say it like that before, but I
No.
love how you just said that because we're at the like we've got our son's turning 10 in March, and so
Mhm.
that conversation is coming. Not hopefully not yet, but it's coming. I know, and I am terrified, like paralyzed by it because I don't know what to do. I
Yeah.
don't want to make him so isolated from everybody else that he
Mhm.
doesn't belong or fit in, but at the same time, like I'm not about
It's
that.
scary.
There was
So,
another study that even said kids, I forget what percentage, and I'm sorry I don't have the exact percentage
oh no,
and can
it's
lead you to
okay.
the
It's not
study.
on
I
the
can send
spot.
it to you later, but it's something like something crazy. Over 50% of kids now want to be social media influencers and YouTubers and
Oh
creators. No,
Lord.
they don't want to be
Oh
actors
no.
anymore. They don't want to be, so I think parents, you have to tell your kids it is a creative job. If you are going to be on this, you are a creator. And creators don't consume. They
Mm.
consume to get a few trends, to find a few sounds they like. And as silly as this is, and as an example, I think Kim Kardashian and her kid North, right? She just did an interview and I listened on it, and they were asking Kim, like, you are this one of the world's most famous women. How do you control how your kids are on social media? And she said the same thing. She just says, I let North go on there and make videos and I take her phone away and that's it. I don't let her scroll. I don't let her consume. They don't need to be exposed to that, but they can be creative. So
Right.
So
I
they're
think
not
that's
they're
how.
they're not getting the comments. The kids aren't seeing the comments. They're
Yep.
not seeing the
And
trolls.
their comments are turned off. So
Yeah.
you have the ability on Instagram and on TikTok. Snapchat's obviously different, but you can turn off the comments
Yeah.
and the likes even on profiles. So it can
Right.
purely just be a creative outlet.
Do you think for a child that social media does contribute to the issues we have with healthy body neutrality and inclusivity?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think 100%. I think it also goes into the whole topic of mental health and well-being. People can be really awful on the internet and feel like they can say anything behind a screen. So
Oh, so brave. So brave.
yeah, and I've experienced that firsthand many a time,
Yeah.
and it hurts and it's
Yeah.
painful. And I grew up with parents that were like, Megan, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never harm you. But it is different in 2023.
Yeah.
Words are harming
Yeah.
kids,
They are.
and you have to protect them and you have to turn off the comments. I wouldn't, honestly, until my kid was 18, I would not allow comments. I would not allow
That's
them to see
interesting.
the likes. I would not. And that's coming from someone who this is my job. So
But
it's,
you're also, I mean, disclaimer, Megan's an adult. And so Megan,
yeah,
consciously, she's mature enough. We're talking about kids who are not,
yeah,
don't have the capacity to deal with
yeah,
all the responsibility that comes with that. So,
yeah.
yeah,
So
thank you.
how do you then explain it to a kid to understand that mom and dad or whoever aren't being supportive and letting me be on social media? It's this fun thing. But I really think if you can explain to them that the direction social media is going is to be a creative and a creator and just drill that into them, and unless they want to do that, then you can follow family and friends and that's it. You don't need to
I
go
love,
public.
I love that. I can't even tell you how much I love what you just said. Like, I really, that is a great explanation. Like, I'm gonna go write it down everywhere so it's in my face when we have to have that talk, because I think that's
Yeah,
such a great way to say it.
of course. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. And for all of you joining, thank you so much. I know we have a lot of We Love Megans in the comments, so everybody's very excited to see you here. Everybody here, make sure you to share that conversation. We have a few minutes left. We're going to go to homework in a minute and talk about some projects that Megan has coming up. But in the meantime, drop any questions you have for Megan. We have a little bit of time to answer a couple questions if you have them about Megan's journey or about our topic today. Drop those in the comments. We are all about homework here at Beyond the Steps, Megan. So, what is your homework assignment for our guests? One thing that they can do right now to take a positive step forward in body neutrality.
I think because we just came off of the social media topic, I would say go on your Instagram, go on your TikTok, and go unfollow every single person that makes you feel bad about yourself. And maybe that's me, maybe that's you, maybe that whoever that is. Create the community that represents you, that who you want to be surrounded by, and community will impact. It starts with the self. The way you look at your body starts with the self, but your community will impact that. So you have to create and cultivate a community that reflects your values. So because we are on our phones all the time, go change what that looks like, because I know yours does not look like anyone. I know everyone. Not it doesn't 100% look like what you want it to be, and no one is going to be offended if you unfollow them. Maybe they will, but who cares?
Yeah, I mean, right.
And play that big of a deal at the end of the day. You're doing it for yourself and for your well-being and for your kids. So just that's where I would start. And in other terms, I would say in general, just focus on yourself, get off your phone, and journal. If you don't feel good about yourself or your body, ask yourself why, get to the root cause of it, and then expand from there. But I'll tell you, a lot of it is probably being fed to you from what you consume.
So I have a confession about this. I'm going to say this because
Yeah.
I struggled with some health issues at the end of the year, and come to find out, long story short, it's all my stress and anxiety from the last few years bottled up that's causing like physical pain in my body. And so I started the new year going, okay, I'm going to journal. I've been meditating. I've been doing all this. I've been reading this book from which I never take time to read books, but I read a chapter a day. All about, just healthy mindset and taking care of yourself and understanding, your inner child and all the things. Right. Well,
Mhm.
so journaling is freaking hard for me. Like it's
It's
hard.
very hard for me
Uh-huh.
too.
It
Yeah.
sounds so simple, but it's an incredibly hard skill for me to master because you
Mm.
really have to sit and think deeply. You have to be incredibly honest and harsh almost with yourself. Um
Mhm.
and it is not easy. I'm having a hard time. I will say it.
Yeah.
January 6th, everyone.
I would
Yeah.
say, this might be helpful for you. I recently listened to Mel Robbins' podcast. I don't know if
Yeah.
you listen to her and her
Hmm.
method of the high five theory.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so if you're not familiar with the high
I'm
five
not.
theory, Mel Robbins, she developed and studied this theory that every morning if you wake up and you have to look at yourself in the mirror and give yourself a high five, it almost tricks your brain into not believing in yourself, kind of, but everything we associate with a high five with someone, it's all good feelings. It's all
Yeah.
positive emotion,
Yeah.
positive feedback, reinforcement. And you having to do that to yourself every single morning in the mirror, if you can bring yourself to journal and maybe you don't have the words to say, you can bring yourself to look in the mirror and give yourself a high five and start that right away in the morning. And it's even that is a difficult task. When's the last time you just
It
looked at
is.
the mirror, at yourself in the mirror in the eyes and took it all in? I
Well,
did it the
yeah,
other
and
day and I
not
cried.
been
Like,
critical of
yeah.
yourself, Yeah.
And that's why associating that with that, it's that positive reinforcement every single day
Okay, so what
towards
what
yourself.
what is it? Who is it? Who do I listen to?
Mel Robbins. I can
Mel
send it to
Robbins.
y'all. It was
Yeah.
one of her recent episodes that came out.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of it on YouTube, and I think like the title is this five seconds to change your life or something
Yes.
like that on
Yeah.
YouTube. Is
Okay.
usually what it's titled. But Megan, that's so interesting. I just watched that too, and I also use the 5 4 3 2 1 method that she uses. Like you can't if you have to do something you're procrastinating, you don't have the energy to do it. Count backwards 5 4 3 2 1 and go do it.
Go.
You can't count the other way because you have
Yeah.
infinite numbers. You have to go backwards.
Oh.
5 4 3 2 1 and then just go. That's sending emails, that's saying something, delivering news that you may not want to, that's getting out of bed, that's
Yeah.
anything where you have to do
I
it.
think it's a lot of just like tricking your brain
It is.
Yeah.
until you believe that you are just so worthy of calm and ease. And I tell myself I'm lucky. Like every single situation, I'm a lucky person. I am so lucky. I'm so grateful. And if you can't journal that down, you can say it out loud,
Yeah.
get it out of your brain into the world. And I'm really big on that. I know it's a little woo woo, but I
No,
love
it's
that
not
stuff.
because these are all such simple things, and that's what I'm trying to
Mhm.
do is get this instead of like a bunch of things that I'm not going to keep up, right? Like realistically, what are the things? How do I want to kick off my day? That's what I've been working on. So this is all very interesting. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And I too, I'm with you, Bree. I can't journal. If you look at my journals, it's like entry from 1/6/2021, entry from
Well,
six
yeah, like,
seven
and you
twenty
see all these
one.
people who write all these profound, really great things, and I'm like, what is my holdup? I don't. I have
Mhm.
to do more work. I'm just starting, but I'm
I
gonna do
also
more.
think people associate journaling with having to be so positive all the time. Half of my journaling is getting out all the negative ish in my brain onto paper. And it is therapeutic to get it out and you can release it. It's just the same as arguing, right? But like you can argue with a piece of paper and you get it out and there's no judgment. You can say whatever you want and then it's done. And then it's like, then you've
Yes.
said it and
Yes.
then it can change your whole day. Yeah.
Yes.
Our
Oh,
number
my
one fan
dad's
is in the
on.
comments.
My dad, the world's best father, is in the comments. Hi, Dad. He says, as a 65-year-old old school guy, he is very old school. I appreciate the subject today. Well, that in itself is a miracle, people. Everyone,
Let me
high
tell you.
five.
I've been waiting on that. I've been waiting on that compliment for 3
We can
seasons.
end 2023 now, everybody. We are good.
Right. Yes. We have gotten the approval of our biggest fans. Thank you so much.
God.
We appreciate it.
Hi,
So
Dad.
now we have our homework.
Yeah.
Dad, you got to do the homework now.
Yeah.
Unfollow, get that unfollow button going. Moving forward, that's your homework from Megan today. We also have homework to take the Steps Initiative. It is free, totally free training and resources on the Apollo website. We're going to drop that into the chat for everyone to be able to take that. It's been out there now for almost 3 years. Whoa. It's been out there now for almost 3 years, and many people have taken it and benefited from it, and you can too. So please make sure that you do that. Megan has so much going on. We have to leave enough time for her to talk about all this. But first, I do want to say, how can people get in touch with you, Megan?
You can follow me. All of my social media channels are at Megan Bowen _. That's MEGANBOWEN _. And yeah, that's the easiest way, honestly. Follow me, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. That's all. YouTube.
And you were talking to us about Dance at Home before we went live. Tell us about it.
Yeah, my business, Dance from Home. We're going into my 3rd year. I completely rebranded and relaunched it in the new year. And it was in the beginning of podcast, I should have emailed you. It used to be kind of Broadway themed and centric. And now I've pivoted into a new direction of just helping as many people as possible fall in love with fitness and dance again.
Love it.
Yeah. And just make it a part of your routine that can be consistent and bring joy. That is what From Home is. We're an online platform with on-demand videos, and currently we're doing a 31-day January challenge. It's not your typical workout New Year's awful thing. It is short, fun workouts that get you moving and connected with your body. I think the more you are connected with yourself and with your body, with the phone down, moving, breathing, experience the humanity with yourself, the better you can lead and just be throughout your day. So that's what I'm striving for with Dance from Home. I am very excited. I love my community, if you're listening, and we're just getting started.
Yes, I love it. That is a woman who's ready to punch 2023 in the face. I love it. Go,
Yes,
Megan.
Thank you.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see how it develops, because you are just so much fun to follow on social. I mean, that's why we were attracted to you in the I mean, your energy is just so contagious, and
Thank you.
you're just so real with everything, and we love following you. So I can't wait to see what you do this year. It's going to be awesome. Next week we are coming back with another Beyond the Steps episode. We're welcoming back Christina Michaels to talk about acceptable and deliberate discrimination by dance studio owners and operators of the LGBTQIA community. So join us for that Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And until then, share this episode. Follow us. Follow Megan. See what she's got going on. And join our community. We're going to pop the email where you can get registered to receive all of our Beyond the Steps episodes via email as they're released. We're turning this into a podcast this year. We've got vlogs coming. So we're also going to punch 2023 in the face. And I have a secret. I'm going to tell you guys first. Nobody knows this yet, but Paula is now a Silver Tour sponsor for the PPA this year. So the Professional Pickleball Association. You're going to see us all over the place in pickleball. So if you play pickleball, wear your Paula's. It's going to be the stock that you need to have to play pickleball. So check that out. And that's going to be announcements coming on that soon. But you guys heard it first. So you have lots of homework to do today. Until next week, we hope you continue your journey beyond the steps. Thank you so much, Megan. Everybody have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.